take a look at this week's internet weather. So these are the top 10 most probed ports for this past week. You can see there are a couple little changes and one very big change. So let's go into it. So in first place for this week, port 23 TCP is Telnet. 80 ICMP is ping, that's up a spot, swapping with 445 TCP, that's SMB. 1433 is Microsoft SQL Server, I believe. 22 TCP is SSH. Now in sixth place here, we have 9530 TCP, which has jumped up and whopping 668 spots, which is really quite something. So we'll be going into that in just a second. Moving on, 443 TCP is up 2, and that is HTTPS. 3389 is Remote Desktop Protocol down 1. 81 TCP is an alternate web port that's bumped down 4 slots, and 80 TCP is just plain old web. Take a look at the most sources probing. We really don't have that many changes here. It looks like there's a single change in the ranking. Port 8728, which is related to microtik routers. Most of the ports we've seen are the same as the ones that are the most probed ports. 8291 is in fifth place. That's another microtik one. And 53 UDP is DNS. So taking a look at this 9530 TCP, this is related to a backdoor in specific devices with high silicon chips and Xiongmai firmware. This is all IoT stuff. It's actually a bug, maybe not a bug, maybe a secret backdoor that was found back in February of this year. Very interesting article to read. But apparently you send a certain sequence to this particular port, and it should enable Telnet on some of these devices with a known list of usernames and passwords. So obviously, attackers will go scan for this port. If it's present, send the secret knock, and then go and try out the Telnet passwords. So I've got a 365-day view here, just to sort of give you guys some context. You can see here from February where this starts to spike a little bit. You can see a few like one-off spikes back in 2019. But then as soon as February 2020 hits, this thing skyrockets, eventually tapers off, and as of this week, now we have another spike again that goes not quite as high as it originally did, but significantly high, in the order of 140 million scan flows per hour, give or take. So someone is interested in this one, maybe rediscovering it, maybe a new botnet, a new operator who's found out that this is a viable bug. But who knows? A lot of these sources are in Taiwan and South Korea. My thought is that the botnet is building out. They scan for a bunch of vulnerable boxes, compromise those, and those same boxes are scanning. So this is definitely a port to keep an eye on. I figured I would show port 23 TCP Telnet is a 30-day view of the scanned sources. You can see it hasn't really changed all that much. We did have sort of a drop-off in the last week or so. I don't really have an explanation for that, but it is not a significant drop-off. Scan flows on this other port, I figured I'd throw in something that tripped our alerts but didn't make it to the top 10 for either one. This is scan flows on port 22122 TCP, which as far as I can tell is related to HP SimpliVity, which I believe is a VM-related software. And as you can see, there is a very big spike here on the 3rd for that port, getting up to 11 million scan flows per hour. And there's only really a handful of sources for this one, one or two of them, and they're in Australia. So what this means, we don't quite know yet, but it's certainly someone is interested in finding these boxes. They may have a vulnerability that's about to be used. It's hard to say at this point. And that is the internet weather for this week.